Welcome to the Urban Herald. As part of your team here, well, we're constantly looking at how technology is shaping our world. And today, diving into the fascinating research you've shared with us, we're exploring something really quite remarkable, something that might already be sitting on your wrist. Just imagine a future where your smartwatch knows you're pregnant maybe even before you do, or detects an infection before symptoms even appear. Sounds wild, right?
It really does sound like science fiction, doesn't it? But the groundbreaking research we're looking at today into AI health detection, it's bringing this future much, much closer. We're seeing a fundamental shift,
Huh.
from reactive healthcare to really proactive healthcare. And this deep dive, well, it's going to unpack just how far this revolutionary tech has come using the insights from the material you've brought.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that. This monumental shift. Because for so long, healthcare has been mostly about reacting, hasn't it? You wait until symptoms show up, then you go for a checkup, get a diagnosis, and finally, treatment. Reactive. But clearly, we're moving beyond that now, beyond traditional checkups, beyond reactive treatments. So how exactly is AI, artificial intelligence, transforming health and wellness? What's really driving this?
What's truly fascinating here, the real core of this revolution, is Apple's Wearable Behavior Model, the WBM. And this isn't just, counting your steps or basic heart rate. No, it's a really sophisticated AI system. It's designed to learn from this huge range of your personal data. We're talking subtle shifts in daily behavior, sleep patterns, activity levels, physiological responses. It paints this incredibly comprehensive, predictive picture of your health.
So it's like having a health detective right there on your wrist.
Exactly. Constantly, tirelessly piecing together clues about your well-being. Think of it like a smoke detector, but one that doesn't just alert you to a fire. It actually detects that faint smell of smoke way before any flames appear. It lets you potentially prevent the crisis entirely.
That's a really powerful analogy. A health detective constantly collecting clues.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's pull back the curtain a bit more. What's the science underneath all this? How does it actually piece these clues together and, well, work its magic?
Right. Well, it's definitely not magic, of course. It's machine learning, but really sophisticated machine learning. The source material we looked at highlights it was developed through Apple's Heart and Movement Study, and it was trained on an absolutely staggering amount of data, over 2.5 billion hours of behavioral information.
Billion, with a B.
Yes, from more than 162,000 participants. Just to give you some perspective on that number, that's like having a data set equivalent to one person wearing a watch continuously for, what, over 285,000 years?
Wow, okay. That's hard to even imagine.
It is. And that incredible volume of real-world data, that's what lets the AI learn and spot these incredibly subtle patterns.
Yeah, okay, and you mentioned that WBM goes beyond just, like, raw sensor data. It looks at higher-level behavioral metrics.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? What kind of subtle cues is this AI looking for? How does that give deeper insights compared to just a single heart rate reading or something?
Yeah, exactly. So we're talking about things like the patterns in your step count, not just the total number, but how it varies day to day, week to week. We're looking at subtle variations in your sleep duration, your sleep quality, changes in heart rate variability, which is a really key indicator, shifts in your overall mobility, even those tiny alterations in how you move throughout your day or week. It's complex stuff.
Right.
And the model uses what's called a time series machine learning architecture. Think of it like tracing a trend line on a graph rather than just plotting one single point.
Okay, seeing the bigger picture over time.
Precisely. This temporal approach, looking across time, it's critical because so many health conditions, they don't just pop up overnight, do they? They unfold gradually. And this allows the WBM to potentially predict rather than just react once symptoms are obvious. That's the massive leap forward here.
That ability to predict.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds incredibly powerful. And maybe the most remarkable finding, the one that catches everyone's eye in the research you shared, is its potential ability to detect pregnancy. What are the specifics? I mean, this sounds almost unbelievable.
It really is remarkable. The research we reviewed indicates that the WBM can detect pregnancy with up to 92% accuracy.
92%.
Yep. And think about what that means. That level of early detection could, in the future, offer parents weeks of crucial lead time, time for earlier lifestyle adjustments, maybe earlier medical consultations, things that could significantly impact health outcomes. And often, this is before traditional at-home tests might even turn positive.
Wow. So it's not picking up on the obvious signs then.
No, not at all. It identifies these really subtle physiological and behavioral changes in those very, very early stages.
Yeah.
The study specifically analyzed data from 430 pregnancies and compared it against info from over 24,000 women who weren't pregnant. And the AI picked up on things like a slightly increased resting heart rate, small changes in sleep patterns, maybe alterations in physical activity levels, subtle shifts in daily routines. These tiny signals, when combined, collectively pointed towards early pregnancy.
That level of accuracy, 92% for
Yeah.
pregnancy detection, is, well, is incredible. It almost sounds too good to be true, which brings up a really critical question. Is this technology something we can expect, on our own wrists right now? Is it available?
Ah, that's the key point. Currently, this specific predictive tech, like the pregnancy detection, it's still firmly in the research phase. There's no official timeline from Apple about when or even if this capability will make it into consumer devices like the Apple Watch.
Okay, so not yet.
Not yet. Right now, your Apple Watch only allows manual logging of pregnancy and symptoms through the Health app. It's really important for listeners to differentiate between these super promising research findings and what's actually available in products today.
Right, good clarification. Now, beyond something as specific and frankly groundbreaking as pregnancy detection, you hinted that WBM's capabilities go much further. What other conditions is this model showing significant promise in detecting? And are there particular types of conditions it seems especially suited for?
Yeah, absolutely. The WBM's potential reach extends far beyond reproductive health. It's demonstrated some pretty impressive accuracy across a range of conditions. For instance, the research showed 82% accuracy for potentially predicting diabetes risk factors based on behavior.
82%.
Yeah. And 76% for detecting signs consistent with certain infections, and 69% for identifying patterns that might indicate an injury. It seems particularly good at identifying what the researchers call static health states. These are sort of consistent aspects of your health profile, like does someone take beta blockers or do they have a history of smoking? Things that are generally constant.
Okay, like baseline stuff.
Exactly. But it's also proving powerful for transient health states. These are the temporary shifts, fluctuations in sleep quality, maybe the very early signs of a respiratory infection, even before you really feel run down.
Hmm.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, just imagine a world where your wearable could alert you to, say, elevated stress levels that might signal burnout risk, or maybe even subtle early signs of depression just through changes in your activity and sleep patterns, long before these conditions become really debilitating.
That's a huge potential shift in mental wellness monitoring, too.
It really is.
So let's clarify again for you, the listener. What can your current Apple Watch actually do today, say, with the latest watchOS 11? What features relate to this kind of health monitoring right now?
Right, good question. So with watchOS 11, the Apple Watch already offers several pretty impressive features that are available and actively used. You've got robust heart health monitoring that includes ECG readings, irregular rhythm notifications, high and low heart rate alerts. And importantly, these have FDA clearance as a Class 2 medical device for these specific functions.
Okay, so that's medically validated for those things.
Correct. Which means your watch can already act as a powerful personal heart monitor. It could potentially alert you to serious conditions like atrial fibrillation, AFib, which might otherwise go unnoticed. It prompts you to seek medical advice early.
That alone is pretty significant.
It is. Then you also have comprehensive sleep analysis, detailed activity tracking with lots of metrics, manual cycle tracking for women's health, and the new Vitals app, which is quite interesting. It provides overnight health metrics like heart rate, respiratory rate, wrist temperature trends, and sleep duration. So these current features really help you track your overall wellness trends and spot potential anomalies yourself.
Okay, so just to reiterate, it's really important to remember that the advanced AI predictions we've been talking about, things like automatic pregnancy detection or diabetes prediction, those are still very much in the research phase. They're not features you'll find on your watch just yet. Now, shifting gears slightly, how are healthcare professionals viewing these developments? I mean, is there widespread excitement, or is there maybe a healthy dose of caution mixed in there too?
Oh, there's definitely a mixture. You see both excitement and, yes, that healthy skepticism, which is totally normal, right? With such potentially transformative technology. We saw a quote from Dr. Rod Passman, a cardiologist at Northwestern Medicine. He noted, "This is a very powerful tool, and many of us are using it not only to diagnose disease, but perhaps even manage diseases like abnormal rhythms.
So doctors are already using the current features.
Yes, exactly. Doctors are already recommending Apple Watches for specific conditions, especially for continuous remote monitoring of heart health or maybe tracking recovery after surgery. The data from these devices, even the current ones, can offer a kind of continuity of care that traditional infrequent checkups just can't provide.
Mm-hmm. But they also emphasize caution, right? It's definitely not a replacement for seeing your doctor.
Absolutely not. That's the consistent message. Medical professionals stress again and again. Wearables are supplementary tools. They are not replacements for professional medical assessment. As one study highlighted quite clearly, we don't make a diagnosis purely because your watch says something's wrong. There are still valid accuracy concerns sometimes. Factors like how snugly the device fits, how consistently someone wears it, even environmental things can affect readings. So while your watch might give you a powerful clue, maybe like a prolonged elevated resting heart rate professional oversight, seeing a doctor, that's essential before starting any treatment based just on wearable data.
So the watch gives hints, maybe strong hints, but the doctor provides the diagnosis and the plan.
That sums it up perfectly. Hints versus diagnosis.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so given how sensitive health data is and the potential impact of these predictions, what about the rules and regulations? The regulatory landscape must be incredibly complex here.
Oh, it is. Complex and constantly evolving. For instance, as we mentioned, the Apple Watch already has FDA clearance for specific things like the ECG and irregular rhythm detection. That classifies it as a Class 2 medical device for those features.
Which means it went through rigorous review for those.
Exactly. It met specific standards for safety and effectiveness for those functions. Now, for future AI health detection capabilities, like the pregnancy or diabetes prediction we discussed, any new functionality like that would undoubtedly need fresh FDA review. That could mean extensive clinical trials, safety assessments. It can take months, sometimes even years.
It's a high bar.
A very high bar, as it should be for health tech. And beyond the FDA, you have privacy regulations. Things like GDPR in Europe, HIPAA in the US, they play a huge role. They demand explicit user consent and really robust protection for this incredibly sensitive health data. It's definitely a regulatory minefield, but a necessary one to protect users.
Yeah, absolutely necessary. Which leads right into the next big question: privacy and security. With so much personal data being collected and now potentially analyzed by sophisticated AI, what about privacy? This feels like a huge concern for a lot of people, especially given how, well, intimate this data is.
It is a huge concern, and rightly so. It's one of the biggest challenges, really, for the widespread adoption of these technologies. The data collected by wearables is incredibly intimate, as you said. Heart rate patterns, minute by minute, sleep behaviors, movement data, maybe even reproductive health information down the line.
Yeah.
This information is highly personal, and it could be incredibly valuable to various entities, think insurance companies, employers, maybe advertisers, if it fell into the wrong hands or was used without clear, explicit consent.
So what are the key privacy challenges we, as users, should really be aware of when we think about AI health analysis happening on our devices?
Well, there are several. One big one is data ownership. Who actually owns the health insights that are generated by an AI analyzing your data? Is it you? Is it the company?
Good question.
Then there's the fundamental issue of how aggregated health data, anonymized or not, is shared with third parties. Is it for academic research? Product improvement, commercial purposes, transparency is key there. We also know that many wearable devices historically have had documented security weaknesses. That makes them potential targets for cyber attacks if they aren't properly secured.
Right.
And crucially, do users truly understand what they're agreeing to? You know, when they click agree on those long terms of service to enable AI health analysis. Probably not always.
Probably not.
Now, Apple generally has a strong reputation on privacy. They emphasize on-device processing for a lot of health data, encrypted transmission. But the sheer volume and sensitivity of health data needed for this kind of advanced AI analysis, it presents ongoing challenges for the entire industry, not just Apple.
So what should users do? Be vigilant.
Absolutely. Be vigilant. Regularly review your privacy settings on your devices and apps. Try to understand the terms of service, as tedious as they are for any wearable health devices you use. Be aware of what you're sharing.
Okay, good advice. Looking ahead now, what's next? Where is wearable health AI headed in the next, say, 5 to 10 years? How might it integrate even further into our daily lives?
Well, the trajectory really suggests a healthcare revolution is truly underway. It's not just hype. We'll likely see more multimodal AI integration. That means combining data from multiple sensors and devices, maybe data from your watch, your smart scale, maybe even sensors in your home, all feeding into one unified, comprehensive health picture.
Wow, a whole ecosystem of health data.
Exactly. There's also really cutting-edge research happening in biochemical sensing. Imagine future wearables that might analyze tiny amounts of sweat or tears for biomarkers. That could offer insights into things like glucose levels for diabetes management or stress hormone levels directly from your wrist.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And mental health monitoring, as we touched on, is another huge area. AI systems could potentially detect those early, subtle signs of depression or anxiety through behavioral patterns, maybe even before you recognize them yourself.
That could be life-changing for some people.
Potentially, yes. And then think about predictive health coaching. Getting personalized recommendations and nudges based on your unique health trends delivered right when you need them. And finally, integration with existing healthcare systems. Making your wearable data a seamless part of your electronic medical record, easily accessible to your doctor. That's a big goal.
So it really changes the whole paradigm, doesn't it? From reacting to illness to proactively, constantly cultivating wellness.
That's the vision. Your wearable might soon know your body's subtle shifts almost better than you do, acting as a true personalized health guardian.
That vision is certainly compelling, really exciting. But despite all these promising developments, there are still significant challenges, right? Before this becomes truly widespread and reliable, it's not all smooth sailing from here.
Oh, absolutely not. There are definitely hurdles. Data quality, for one. Wearable sensors can be susceptible to interference motions, sweat, even just not wearing the watch tight enough. That can impact the accuracy of the insights.
Right, garbage in, garbage out, potentially.
Somewhat, yes. Then there's algorithmic bias. This is a huge concern. If the AI models aren't trained on truly diverse populations across race, ethnicity, gender, age, health status, they might be inaccurate or misdiagnoses for certain groups.
Yeah, it could worsen health disparities.
Exactly, which leads to the issue of health equity. Will these advanced wearables actually exacerbate health disparities if they're not accessible or affordable for all socioeconomic groups? That's a critical question we need to address.
Hmm.
And then, of course, the risk of over-reliance. Users might become overly dependent on the AI's recommendations, potentially delaying or neglecting professional medical care when it's genuinely needed.
Like thinking the watch knows best, always.
Right, precisely. And finally, as we discussed, those regulatory processes, while necessary, can be slow. They could potentially stifle innovation even while they're ensuring safety. So, yes, huge potential, but real hurdles to clear.
Okay, so pulling this all together, regardless of how sophisticated AI health detection becomes, it really sounds like the consistent message from medical professionals is clear. Wearables should complement, not replace, traditional healthcare. Is that fair to say? Is that the consensus?
That is absolutely the consistent message across the medical community, unequivocally. Like Dr. Passman said, we always want to get medical grade confirmation before we embark on any treatment. That sums it up. Wearables can provide incredibly valuable insights, early warnings, give you and your doctor way more information to work with over time, continuous data.
Yeah.
But the diagnosis and, crucially, the treatment decisions, those should always, always involve qualified healthcare professionals. Their expertise, their judgment, their ability to see the whole picture. The most effective approach really seems to be this collaborative one. Technology provides the sophisticated data, and that empowers more informed human decisions and expertise.
So it's about augmenting human capability, not replacing it.
Exactly. Augmenting, not replacing.
Well, Apple's wearable behavior model, it truly represents a breakthrough. This deep dive into the research you've shared has certainly shown that. The potential ability to detect pregnancy with 92% accuracy, predicting other conditions, it really does point toward a future where our wearable devices could serve as these intelligent health guardians, giving us unprecedented insight into our own bodies.
For sure. But as we've discussed, this future comes with significant responsibilities, big ones. Privacy protection, robust regulatory compliance, and crucially, maintaining the centrality of professional medical guidance. These will be absolutely vital as these technologies continue to evolve. You know, the most exciting aspect for me isn't just the cool technology itself, but how it might democratize access to continuous health monitoring and early intervention, potentially changing countless lives by enabling truly proactive care for more people.
Yeah, just imagine that world where an early morning nudge on your wrist could actually change your life, alerting you not just to stand up or take a breath, but to these subtle health shifts you haven't even noticed yet, long before symptoms appear. It really does feel closer to reality than science fiction now.
It does. But ultimately, your Apple Watch might one day know you're pregnant before you do, or pick up early signs of an infection. But it will never replace the irreplaceable, the expertise, the empathy, the critical judgment of human healthcare professionals. The future of health is undoubtedly digital, increasingly so, but it must remain fundamentally human. And perhaps that's exactly as it should be.
A powerful thought to end on. Thank you for joining us on this in-depth analysis from the Urban Herald. We really hope this has given you, our listener, a fresh perspective on the exciting but also very complex world of wearable AI and health.